In this video we are going to discuss about the implementation of export import using the Sqoop of the databases from HDFS to RDBMS and from RDBMS to HDFS, and we also go through the listing of all databases, all tables, and along with that execution using eval. We will go through that. Initially we will start our all HDFS services. So these are the nodes running. So now we will go to the MySQL and like just connect to the MySQL using to connect. We are using /user /bin /mysql -u root -p. This is a command to connect to the MySQL server, and we will enter the password. See, now we are in the MySQL and like show databases. Sorry, show. So these are the databases that we are presently having. So we will use one database. Let's use any database from this, and then we will import that database from the local system to the Hadoop file system. Let's use the employee database. So for that we could use employee DB. So our employee DB is there, and let's check what are the tables we have. Show tables, and we have so many tables. So let's use let's check let's take employee table, and what are these? So we have data with employee ID, name, department, and the phone and the email ID. Now let's create this transfer this data from database from our local system, like in the databases, to our Hadoop system. Now for that we will take another terminal so that we can execute it parallelly, and save with it, Control Alt T. So this is our another terminal that we are using right now. So for that we will use the import export commands here. What is this? Sqoop import -connect JDBC MySQL // we have the local host / we are using the database employee DB. So here we will give the employee DB, and we will connect with the username -username, and the username is root for us. So root password we can give as password, or else you can directly give capital P -P. And we are exporting the table, so we shall give the table and the table name here. So our table name is employee, and we want to give the target directory. If you want to get data to in the HDFS, so with create a directory, then we can give here and slash the directory name. Let's use Sqoop import. It will be the directory, and we are not using any mapper here. First initially we are Sqoop import, without mapper we will do, and then we will use the mapper. Let's press enter. So it will start. Here we have to give our as we are using -p, so password we need to type here, otherwise hyphen password if we give, then the password will be written in this command itself. So now we will give the password as so I gave the password. It's loading. Let's wait for it. It is showing error because there is no password, I mean like no primary key in our table. So that's why we should split at least one mapper should be given. So let's try with mapper 1 hyphen m space 1. So one mapping will be done. Let's check it. So here we got the output that 5 records have been retrieved. So let's check it. Here the map reduce map 100% is done. So let's check in our Hadoop. Initially we don't have a Sqoop import. Let's refresh it. Now we can see the Sqoop import. See, we have the Sqoop import, and it is successful, and we have the file with the data 5 retrieved. Say we have 5 retrieved data. So in this terminal also we have the 5 data, and the same thing is shown here as well, but the order is different, so the order of printing it will be different. And now we will check with importing with a different mapper and also where clause. Let's go to the terminal. Now we are using to import the data from the local local system to the Hadoop using changing the mapper. Initially we used mapper as 1, so now we are using mapper as 3, so that we will get the records divided into the 3 files. So for that for mapper other than 1, we should have the table with a primary key. So when then only we can change the mappers, or we can use the mappers with the different numbers. Otherwise, if you are using only table which don't have any primary key, then we can use only one mapper. So for that we are using here Sqoop import hyphen. So connect JDBC MySQL localhost, and the database name as employee-db, and the username root -p, and table name. Here we are using the table which is having the primary key. So for that reason the table describe employee 0, so that we will get so we have the primary key of this employee table, and we have 6 records in the employee table, that is employee 0 table. So for that we are using the employee 0 table. So for so here for the employee 0 and the target directory, we are using the table employee 0 and the target directory. In the Sqoop import directory only we are creating another directory, so that we get a clear picture. So we are using map 3 as our directory inside of this employee Sqoop import directory, and with a mapper of 3, so we will get 3 separate files in which the records will be divided. So after pressing enter we should wait, and then here the mapping 100% is done, and then retrieved 6 records. So let's check in our HDFS, and so Sqoop import, and see here we have the map 3. So here we got the 3 records, so we gave the map 3, so that's the reason we got 3 records. If we give mapper as 2, then we will get 2 records with the equal number of records, like division will be done. So in this, let's see, mapper 1 2 records are found, and in another mapper we have 2 records, and in another mapper as well we found another 2 records. So in that way, mapper 3 records are done and 3 mappings has been done. So that's the way, as we saw earlier, it will get divided the data into, like, our data is divided and mapped to this. And now let us check with importing where clause. I mean, like, we importing the data using a where clause conditional statement, so that only that particular conditional data is shifted to our Hadoop system. So for that, we will use Sqoop import hyphen connect JDBC colon. What we will be doing is that we will import the MySQL colon slash localhost, and we are taking the table here as employee. Let's take employee DB database and user. So here we are using the conditional statement. For that, Sqoop import hyphen connect JDBC, and our database is employee DB, and the username password all we gave, and the table we are selecting here employee table, and the mapper with 1, and our target directory is Sqoop import conditional is our directory, and where clause is we are giving the name equal to Raj, whatever the name Raj, then we will get that print. For that, let's check here, select from employee. So whatever the name Raj, that should be printed. Let's see what. Here we are using only conditional statement, so name as Raj, and we should give the password. So let's wait till the execution part is done. So here it got executed. Retrieved 1 record, because we have only 1 record with that. Let's check in our GFS. So in our Sqoop import, see, in our conditional we have one mapper with the file, and see, the data got executed. Raj data got executed. So now we will check the same thing with using like same table with the mapper and the conditional statement with the different conditional statement. Instead of name, we will use ID, and we will use the employee 0 table, so that in employee 0 table, whatever the ID we have should be greater than 2, and let's see how much the data will be divided and the mapper will be used. So in this conditional statement, here we are importing the we are importing the employee DB in database. We are importing employee 0 table where the with the mapper 3. Initially we use mapper 1, the mapper 3. Okay, let's see with mapper 2. Mapper 2. and we have the target directory Sqoop import conditional to, and where we are giving as id greater than 1. So whatever the ids we have, it has been we are using employee 0, and we have 1 to 6 are the ids, and we want id greater than 1, so we will be printing from the 2, and we will get the records as 5, and that need to be divided in terms of 2 mappers. So how, let's check it. Let's press enter, and we will give the admin our password. Okay, here the password was wrong, so let's try it again and type the password. Let's wait till it gets executed. So our data got executed, so 100% map is done, and 5 records are fetched. So we gave mapper as 2, so we gave mapper as 2 in our conditional 2 statement. Let's check it. So let's go to the Sqoop import conditional 2. See, we have 2 mappers, 2 3, and here from here we got 4 5 6. So for it divided the record 5 records are being divided into 2. So first initially 2 records are in this, and next we have the other remaining 3 in the mapper 0 1 record. So it is divided in that way, so data gets divided equally. So now leftover the data will be given in the other mapper. So in that way mappers, in that way Sqoop import we have done with without mapper, with mapper 1, with mapper with 3 mappers as 2, and then with the conditional statement we have done, and we are performed a conditional statement with the 2 clauses, and so everything has been done. So now we will go to the export, like we will export the data from the conditional statements or from the Hadoop directory to our local system. For that we will be using the Sqoop export, Sqoop export as our syntax, and we use the Sqoop export syntax keyword. So let's see with that. Before that we will import all the tables, so we will use the Sqoop import for importing all the tables. So for importing all the tables, whatever the database we are using, so whatever the tables we have, that tables need to be in that table should contain the primary key, then only it can be done. Otherwise that importing of all tables cannot be done. So for that reason, let's take the database which has a primary keys. Let's select that database and the tables and import that in the directory. Let's check what are the tables. So for that reason we are using the Sqoop DB. So in the Sqoop DB we have the DB1 table, and we have the primary key. The table consists of a primary key and there is one data in it. So let's insert more data in it. Insert into DB1 values, we have employee as a primary key, so let's insert 13 comma So let's two records are being inserted into it. So we have 3 datas now. Let's import these all tables into that. So here for importing all tables, so we will give import all tables as our keyword. So this is the query we should use. So import hyphen all hyphen tables, and hyphen hyphen connect, we are giving the JDBC MySQL localhost and the database name. So Sqoop DB is our database, and the username, root, and hyphen p we are giving. No need to mention about the target directory. Inbuilt it will go into the user directory. So let's import it. So we will wait for the execution to complete. DB1 is already exists. So here the it is showing error because the db1 already exists. So we need to import all our tables into particular directory. So we used the target directory, but here the target directory doesn't work because it will throw an error, that is error parsing arguments all import tables, because here instead of target directory, because we are importing all the tables, we should use warehouse directory instead of target directory. So only target directory used for the import and export of the tables in a particular directory, but when we want to import all directories and tables, then we should use warehouse. So for that reason we will use warehouse Sqoop import all tables. Same that database is the Sqoop DB only. So here is that import all tables, connect JDBC and Sqoop DB you are using, and the username and the password and the warehouse. And in Sqoop DB, the particular table that we want to, particular directory where we want to import all tables is all tables Sqoop. And so it is running successfully and it executed. So 3 records are retrieved. So in our we will have the database with the 3 records only. So that table has 3 records. So let's check in our HDFS. So it is in Sqoop import. Inside of all tables we created this particular directory. So here we will get all the directories, databases. So db1, and see here we have all the values, and see all the data, like it will divide the data and it is got executed. Now let's check the same thing with we will import all the tables from the employee database, employee database. So we will import all the directory, all the tables from employee database, so that this employee DB consists of both primary tables consisting of primary key as well as the tables which are without any primary keys. So we will check whether it will execute or whether it will show through, it will show an error or what. So here we will change with the employee DB database and the username, password, and warehouse, and the import export all tables 1. Employee DB directory we are using. All tables employee DB from that database we will use, and see, let's see how it executes. So employee DB consists of the databases which are having tables which are having primary keys as well as tables which don't have any primary keys. And employee DB consists of we have employee 1, employee 2, and employee 0, table 1. Let's check. we are checking into employee DB. We will use employee DB database and show tables. So we have 5 tables. Let's check how many tables it will import with the primary keys. There are some with the primary keys and some tables without the primary keys. We will give the password. And it's executing. Let's wait till it gets executed. So it got executed and 100% done. Let's check in our Sqoop import and all tables with the DB. So employee 0, employee 0, only employee 0 got imported because only employee 0 has the primary key. So all the data of the employee 0 got executed. So all the records inbuilt it took 4 records, so it divided 4. We have in employee 0 we have 6 records. So we have 6 records and it divided into 4. So as we did not mention any mappers here, so it got inbuilt divided into 4, and the data, which is 6 records, is split into these 4 mappers. So all the records initially gets one mapper, and finally there will be 2 records, and that will be inserted into these mappers. So the first file has 2 records, and the mapper 1 has 1 record, and mapper 2 has 1 record, and mapper 3 has 2 records. So in that way the reduction has been done, and only employee 0 got inserted because this is the only table which consists of primary key. When we check in our employee DB, so we have 5 tables, and all these 5 tables, if we check, no primary keys is present in any table, only the primary key is present. Here is a multiple key and not a primary key, so primary key is present only in the employee 0 table. So for that reason, only employee 0 table has been printed, and employee 0 table value, we have 6 records, and only employee 0 table has been printed. So that's the way that import of all tables has been done. Now let's go to export tables, how we export our data from the HDFS to our local the RDBMS. Here we use the export. So we will use the Sqoop export. For export, we need to create a table, and empty table, we need to create that empty table, and into that empty table we will export our data, then only it can be done. So let's see with that. So to export, we are creating the database. First we are exporting the data which is present in map 3 folder of the Sqoop import. We did this data we want to import into export into our HDFS. So for that we are creating a database, and here the data is in the form of male and main gender, ID and the name. So we have to create the table with that contents in the same way. So for that we are creating table EMPO exported with the gender and also the ID and the name, so that we can get the imported value. Let's see that we created a table expo EMPO exported, and let's describe the table. So this is our table, and this is in the similar form of as our browser. So here we have the data as gender, ID and the name. So as the same form here, gender, ID, name. So let's import the data table by using the export. So Sqoop export -connect JDBC MySQL /localhost. So here we are given the Sqoop export and connected to JDBC and host, and our database is employee and the username, password, and then we are given the table name that is which we created just now, that is emp0 exported -- export directory. Let's mention the directory path, so where we are exporting from. So here we are exporting from this directory where emp. So let's copy this. So we will export the directory from here. Let's check whether it's working. Give the password. It is getting executed. Let's wait. So it is shown as exported 6 records. So here we have in this we have 6 records. Let's export that is got exported. It's in let's check in our database. Select star from emp0 export. We should give a semicolon and say select star from emp0 exported. See, we got the 6 records. So all 6 records got fetched out from all the data that is present, and it is present in the form of male 1 and Raj. That's instead of this we can also using the delimiter as well. For exporting we can use MySQL delimiters, so it will divide. Otherwise without delimiters also we will get the data. So in this query we did not use any delimiters. We just use the path from where it is created. So the point to be remembered is in the table creation we have to create the table in the order which it is being printed out, then only it will get executed. That's export query. And to list down what are the let's create listing the databases and all. That also we can do for listing all listed databases and listing all tables. We can use that also. Here we are using the listed databases to list all the databases. So to list all the databases from the root directory, and here Here connect the JDBC MySQL localhost and the username and password we will give. Let's give the password. See, these are the databases that are present in our root. These are the databases. Now we are like to list all our tables. So for that we will use list tables, list hyphen tables. So it will list all the tables that are present. Sqoop list all tables, and here we have to give the MySQL colon localhost, and here we have to give the database from where we want to list all our tables. So employee DB we will give username and password and press enter, and let's give the so these are our tables which are present in our employee DB. And now we listed our tables, listed our databases, like we also performed the export operations. Now we will perform all the operations which are related to eval. What is an eval is that it is an easy way to get check whether the permissions present at the table level, and also to evaluate the queries at the terminal level. We use the Sqoop eval. For Sqoop eval, we will do that in the next video. And this is for export and import and listing the tables and listing all databases, importing all databases. That's the next video will be consisting of eval, executing the queries using eval. That's it.